Hello, this is Heinrich back with another Sunday serving, words of hope and truth from the gospel. Today I want to talk about relationships. That's probably because this past week my oldest son Jordan took a big step in his life by asking the girl of his dreams, Sara, if she would marry him. Now luckily, Sara said yes. And so Jordan and Sara are engaged. They're a very happy couple. They're very much in love. And they're looking forward to getting married, hopefully sometime this year still. So marriage, we all know, is a very important and strong relationship, one that depends on love and trust, faithfulness, working together, forgiveness, having fun together, friendship. But there's also every imaginable kind of relationship between people. Relationships, how we communicate together, how we interact, how we support each other, other people, that's the biggest factor in happiness and meaning in life. Of course, there's all kinds of relationships, and some are stronger and closer, and some more formal or transient. Of course, we have parents to children, a very strong relationship, and children to parents, family relationships, friends, classmates, buddies, colleagues, professional relationships, relationships of faith, congregations, shared interests and hobbies or recreation or intellectual rigor, political relationships, and the like. Relationships are important because almost no one likes to be alone, and that's biblical. Of course, in Genesis, God told Adam, who was still alone at that time, it is not good for man to be alone. And here in the book of Ecclesiastes, there's a great part about relationships and how it's better to be with people than alone. Here in Ecclesiastes chapter 4, it says, "There was a man all alone. He had neither son nor brother. There was no end to his toil, and his eyes were not content with his wealth. For whom am I toiling?" he asked, "and why am I depriving myself of enjoyments?" Those are good questions. This too is meaningless, a miserable business. And here's the important part. Two are better than one because they have a good return for their work. If one falls down, his friend can help him up. But pity the man who falls and has no one to help him up. And then here it says in verse 12, "Though one may be overpowered, two can defend themselves. And a cord of 3 strands is not quickly broken." So those are some beautiful words about working together, about relationships. And you know what? Even in the scientific data, there's evidence how important relationships are. I read that there was recently a scientific study done at the Massachusetts General Hospital, and it was recently published in the American Journal of Psychiatry. The researchers identified over 100 modifiable factors that could represent valuable targets for preventing depression in adults. The findings were that social connection, togetherness, relationships was the strongest, the number one protective factor against depression. Isn't that amazing? So relationships together, social connection is the strongest protection against depression. Now, relationships aren't always positive. They can get strained, they can turn negative, they can turn to enmity, to hatred, and sometimes that's part of life. But we don't need to accept that as an inevitable end. We can do something about it. We can fix relationships. We can experience healing, forgiveness, or the rekindling of a healthy friendship. How can a strained relationship be reconciled? That can really happen if we value others, if we care more about the other person, other people, and their happiness and well-being than our own pleasure or needs. That takes love. And what is love? And what is love made up of? It's made up of many things. It's kind of like light. Visible light is made up of many wavelengths. The colors of the rainbow, they all make up light. So with love, it's things like honesty and truth, trust, acceptance, forbearance, forgiveness, friendship, and very importantly, joy and laughter. Talking about humor, there was another study done in Switzerland in the University of Basel that found that people who laugh frequently in their everyday lives were better equipped to deal with stressful events than people who didn't laugh. So we surely need more of that ability today because of all the stress we're experiencing in society, and with the COVID crisis and everything that's going on in the world. So laughter is a good thing. And there's also plenty of scripture to support humor and laughter and joy. In Proverbs 15, it says something like, "A happy heart makes a face cheerful, but heartache crushes the spirit." How true is that? I think it also says, "All the days of the oppressed are wretched, but the cheerful heart has a continual feast." Of course, the old favorite one, "A cheerful heart is good medicine, but a crushed spirit dries up the bones." Then if you go to the New Testament, what do we read when we hear about the angels announcing the birth of Christ? Their message was, "I bring you good tidings of great joy for all people." So there's lots about joy in the Bible. And the Apostle Paul, he urged his followers to make good relationships, to get together, to support and to encourage each other. So one of my favorite passages from Hebrews, he wrote this in the letter to the Hebrews, chapter 10. He wrote, "Let us hold unswervingly to the hope we profess, for he who promised is faithful." And this is the important part. "Let us consider how we may spur one another on toward love and good deeds. Let us not give up meeting together, as some are in the habit of doing, but let us encourage one another, and all the more as you see the day approaching." So that speaks of the importance of getting together, of building relationships, of encouraging each other. And so, build up and treasure relationships of all kinds. This is what life is made of. This is the most important work that we can do. Jesus, I think, gave the best formula for this when some people asked him about this, and we can read that in Matthew. They said, "Teacher, what is the greatest commandment in the law?" And Jesus replied, the well-known words, "You shall love the Lord your God with all your heart, with all your soul, and with all your mind. This is the great, the best, and the foremost commandment, and the second is like it, you shall love your neighbor as yourself." And Jesus said, on these two commandments, the whole law and the prophet depends on that. So there we have it. We love God and love others. That's relationships. So God bless you all and have a wonderful day. Thank you for watching.